Hey everyone, Kristen here from Wild Birds Unlimited of Barrie and Newmarket, and I've now had my Bird Buddy Smart Bird Feeder out for about 3 weeks, and I feel like that's a nice amount of time to really assess this feeder and find all the things that I love about it and also the things I wish could be improved. And top of that list was the camera pulling notifications and sending them to my phone. And what I mean by that is I was getting no notifications of any birds visiting my bird feeder. Okay, correction one, I got one notification of a blue jay visiting my bird feeder in the first few days that I had the feeder. So about the first 4 or 5 days, I had only one notification that there was a bird at the feeder. And the frustrating thing was that I could see from the windows that there were tons of birds using the feeder. And I had to fill up the feeder twice because the birds were going through the seed that they love so much from Wild Birds Unlimited. So the birds were using it and the camera wasn't capturing anything. And so that was a real sore point for me. So I did some research. They have a wonderful help section on the app where you can look into ways to improve your experience. And I did read that if a bird lands and the camera can't pick it up or identify it, maybe the bird's moving too fast or it's not lining up with the laser of the camera. They have this wonderful perch here, I think, in order to encourage birds to be in a certain position so the camera can see them. And so if a bird maybe is in a position the camera can't recognize or it's moving too quickly, then we end up with no notifications. The camera's not recognizing that it has anything to send to you to let you know that something was visiting your feeder because it can't interpret the data it is capturing on the camera, on the images. So that was frustrating, and I reached out to the Bird Buddy help team because I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything that I could to make sure that I was setting myself up for success. And so I did hear back from them a few days after I sent my inquiry, and they had suggested that I wait for an upgrade to the software that was coming that was going to improve the experience. So I have a feeling I wasn't the only person experiencing that. In fact, I know I wasn't. I heard that feedback from other people as well. And so I waited, and a couple days later, sure enough, they rolled out an upgrade to the software. So I unplugged the camera, plugged it in, and side note, your camera does have to be charged a certain amount in order to do an upgrade to the software. I think it was around 30 or 40%, I can't remember exactly. But it has to have enough juice to do that upgrade. So I had to charge it for a bit, and then I did the upgrade, put the camera back out, and lo and behold, the notifications started just rolling in. So they fixed something in their software that really made a difference for me. It started pushing lots of notifications anytime a bird visited the feeder. I started seeing lots of new birds coming, and that was really, really exciting. And after a few weeks of that, I want to say that one piece of feedback I have is that I wish Bird Buddy could sort of shorten the steps for when you get a new notification. So for those who haven't used the app, as of right now, and this could change at any time, they could do an app update and change the software on the camera and change how they work together. So this could very well change. But as of right now, there's about 4 steps you have to go through in order to look at your sighting from beginning to end, and it is a little laborious. So I feel like what could happen here is that the novelty might wear off for some folks if they have to keep doing these 4 steps every single time they get a sighting. And the reason I say that is because that's how I started to feel. I mean, it was really exciting to see the birds coming to my camera, but I did have a lot of the same birds coming back over and over again, which is kind of to be expected at a bird feeder. Some birds tend to revisit quite frequently throughout the day, and that was happening to me specifically with some blue jays that were coming over and over and over again. And I love my blue jays and I love seeing them, but every time they visited, I got a notification to my phone, which was exciting, except that Bird Buddy doesn't tell you what is visiting your feeder in the notification. They only tell you that a bird has come. So that's a little bit frustrating. You know, you can't really filter on your own, okay, there's another blue jays coming, you know, I'm not going to check this notification right away. So the only way to check what bird it is to actually open the app and look at the notification. And when you see a new bird notification, it looks like a little treasure chest, and then you tap on that treasure chest and it opens up and it very excitedly celebrates with you that this bird has visited your bird feeder. And if you get a new species, it's kind of a different screen that pops up, which is also really fun. So I love that. That was really exciting to get people excited about their notification, but it starts to get a little a little old after a while. The novelty wears off, right? It's really exciting in the beginning, and then like you're kind of a few weeks in and you're like, all right, I just kind of want to get a more efficient way of looking at these sightings. Instead of having the celebration, then you have to identify the bird. And if the software doesn't recognize the bird, you have to tell it what it is. Then we move on to the which pictures do you want to keep? And then we go on to the, do you want to share this with the community or keep it in your private collection? And it's just a lot of steps to get from the beginning of the notification to the end. So what I think they could improve on is maybe streamlining it so you can see what birds are visiting in a more efficient manner. Maybe, we don't need to do the celebration every single time. Maybe we only do that when we get a new species visiting the bird feeder. The other thing I think can be improved is narrowing down what species that the app pulls up for you as a suggestion. So right now I'm thinking it's probably about 60-40. It's able to identify about 60% of the bird pictures that I get. And about 40% of the time it's like, hey, we don't recognize this bird, which is usually a bird in a strange position that's maybe too close to the camera or cut off like halfway out of the frame. And so the camera's not exactly sure what it is. So it tries to suggest 3 birds that it could be. And a lot of the time, none of those 3 birds is what my bird is. And then so you have to go to another page saying, no, this is the wrong bird. It's none of these suggestions. And then you have to type in the bird that it is, pull it up, and then select it. And the downside is when you go to search for a bird from the list, it pulls up every single bird that is currently being used by BirdBuddy users around the world. So I'm getting a lot of European birds, for example, showing up when I'm searching for things, which, if I didn't know exactly which bird it was, isn't super helpful for me. So I think narrowing it down based on the location of the user and what birds might be coming to their bird feeder would be a good addition to the software to kind of narrow things down a little bit. So yeah, I talked about maybe not as many steps, narrowing down the species. And another thing that is a little irksome is that it always wants to prompt you to share your photos to the community, which is great. We want people to celebrate our birds with us. But it defaults to sharing on the community, and my preference would be it defaulted for me to keep it in my collection and then as an option sharing it with the community and not the other way around. So I think that would be an easy fix, as well as it does watermark every single photo with hashtag BirdBuddy, which, I would like to maybe be able to share a photo without the hashtag BirdBuddy on it. It's a little kind of annoying that it doesn't give you the option to not save it that way, or maybe it does and I just haven't discovered how to do that. But that would be another change I would be looking for out of the app. So those are a few things I found. A couple other things that I found is to do with the solar panel. So I'm not crazy about the solar panel because I really haven't found that it works very well. So I was really hopeful with this bird feeder that I would have little to no maintenance in terms of the camera. I didn't want to have to unplug it and bring it in to charge it. And that's exactly what is happening. I'm not sure if the solar panel just isn't strong enough to power the camera. It isn't strong enough to power the camera in our conditions here because it's getting kind of cold and a couple times we've had snow. So that's going to maybe drain the battery a bit faster, or maybe it's just not sunny enough. I mean, this is a direct sunny spot, but maybe the camera needs it for longer, or I'm not really sure what the issue is, but I've not found that the solar panel has been really worth it with this camera. It's not really working very well together. So I'm constantly having to charge it. And I feel like the danger in that is that people could get really tired of that really fast. So it's like, if you have to constantly remember to charge your bird feeder, maybe you're just not going to make the effort to do it. It's not, we're busy people. We have busy lives, right? All of us are busy in our daily lives. And so having one more thing to remember, like, oh, I have to go charge the bird feeder again, or oh, I have to take it from the inside back to the camera, back to the unit itself. you know, that could get a little old a little fast. So that's not been my favorite part of this bird feeder, charging the camera up. But unfortunately, it looks like that's going to be the reality for me with this solar panel, because it's just not working a bit well. Also, if I could put it out there, I'd love it if the cord coming from the solar panel into the camera was a little bit longer. It is a little short, which can be a bit frustrating when you're trying to put it together. Sometimes it's really difficult to get that connection in. So the solar panel hasn't been my favorite part of the feeder. What I do like is the birds really seem to like this feeder. They do like to come to it. They visit it often. And of course, they love the Wild Birds Unlimited bird seed. So they're coming regularly to the feeder. I am filling the feeder up a lot, pretty much every single day. It's a good size, but in terms of the bird feeders, the birds rather that I have coming, we have a lot of bird activity, and so it's not quite cutting it in terms of the bird activity at our house. I'm having to fill it every single day. So that's a little laborious too. So having to charge the camera and having to fill up the bird feeder every day are two things that I'm not crazy about. I usually try to have bird feeders that can hold enough seed to last about a week or week and a half between fillings. So this is a little bit more involved than I'm used to for a lot of my bird feeders. So that's some feedback there, but the birds really do love it. The camera has great photo, like good captures, high quality pictures, which is really good. I do love all the information about the birds that's included in the app. So that's been a lot of fun to look at and to read about the species, and you can see the sounds that they make and all kinds of stuff. And also to see other people's photos. It is fun to you know, peruse the community and see what other people are getting pictures of. So that's really fun too. So there's certainly a lot of great things about this feeder, but those are my pieces of feedback about it so far. The other thing that I'm not crazy about is the little tiny screw that holds the camera into the bird feeder securely. It's also held in with a magnet. I got rid of that screw pretty early on within the first few days. After about the third time I had to take it out, I was like done with it. I knew I would probably lose it, so I got rid of it before I could lose it. I have it in a little Ziploc bag that it came with, and I have it tucked away safely. So I'm just using right now the camera with the magnet. So as you can see, it comes out pretty easily. And then I could just pop it back in pretty easily. So there is a risk in that it could come out. The magnet, you know, it's not going to be strong enough to hold it in there against anything. But I think most of the time, the magnet is going to be strong enough to hold it in place. So I'm comfortable with it there. And unfortunately, I noticed when I was cleaning it out for the first time the other day and it did come apart nicely for cleaning. That is another bonus. It did come fully apart so that I could clean it and get the whole area cleaned and disinfected for the birds. So that was great. But I did notice there was a crack right where in the plastic, right where that screw goes into the camera. And so that was a little annoying that there was already a crack in the plastic. I don't know whether that's from me tightening the screw, or I'm not sure why that crack would be there. Maybe it was there and I never noticed it before. But yeah, that's unfortunate as well, because it's a brand new feeder. So to see that it's already got a crack in it is a little annoying. So it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be a structural problem for this bird feeder. It's going to function just fine, but just a little bit of an annoyance that I discovered. So that's my feedback in the first 3 weeks. The birds love it. And there's been an improvement to the software, which has greatly improved my user experience to the point where I'm like, okay, I think we need to maybe streamline the app a little bit more to get those sightings a bit more efficient. And that just might be something that comes with time as they get feedback from users and maybe find more streamlined ways of setting up the notifications to people about their bird activity. Maybe that's just going to be something that comes with time. So overall, I do love my bird feeder, my bird buddy, and I do love seeing the notifications that come through. It's really exciting to see when a new species lands on the bird feeder. And it's been a fun experience thus far. So there you have it. That's my feedback after the first 3 weeks. I would love to hear your feedback on your bird buddy. Are you having similar experiences to mine? Are there other things that you're loving or that are bothering you that you wish could change? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear it. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.